Have you been taking any lessons from any kind of like a literature person to like, because I know Joe Austin, he got the whole set of where he does like a little comedy, like a 3-bit something, then he jumps right into to the word. How was your kind of style? Is there any influence person out there that like his style and kind of go off of?
So what you're saying is a lot of I follow a lot of podcasts, with coaches that coach you how to communicate effective, you know,
Mm-hmm.
get your message across all at the same time. Always pay attention to your audience. And what that means is once you know your audience is disengaging when you look at them and they're falling asleep. Well, if you see like 2 or 3 people falling asleep, then you're you're boring.
You
So
know what? How is that, man? Let's get into that. How are you able to overcome when you see somebody like bored from the word? You can be preaching in your heart, in your soul. You're like, man, this is a good message I got for y'all, brothers and sisters. And then on the corner of your eye, they're just that person that just falling asleep, not feeling what you're sharing, man. What goes through your mind, or like how are you able to counter, not to get distracted because I
yeah,
would be like thrown off, like, uh,
yeah, sure, sure,
young
sure.
man, young man, are you sleeping? You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, sure, sure. So we can look at it from a delivery standpoint.
mm-hmm,
Any mail, like let's say a UPS guy, you order something very expensive from the
mm-hmm.
mail, right? And then you look at the mailman, he comes and he just throws it to your doorstep and then it messes it up, and mess up your what you pay a lot of money for it. So you get mad at the messenger, right? For the
Yep,
something.
yep.
So you have to look at it from your delivery perspective. Any good message, if you're delivered in the wrong way, people will fall asleep. So you'll have to look at both sides of the spectrum. First, they're probably tired from a long week. Second, are you delivering? Is your message being delivered effectively to where it can be understood and simply, like simplify your message? Because sometimes people use hyperbolical words,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
that's when people disengage. You know what I mean?
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes.
so you got to. So one of the things I learned, like you mentioned, one of them. One of the things I follow a lot of these coaches, like John Maxwell is a great speaker,
John
and
Maxwell.
yeah, so he's a great leader, and he tells you over and over. And one of the guys, top ball singer, he's one of the leaders that does. He goes around and teaches about leadership. He tells you that if you want to get your message across, you got to add some humor in between to kind of wake people up. It's kind of like commercials in between. So kind of once people start falling asleep, you add another commercial in to kind of like an intermission between the message. So get them engaged all the time.
Okay, so it's a strategy because it's like
Yeah.
you don't get in other words, you're not offended. You're just like why, kind of have an idea why they're falling asleep. So you gotta navigate it to a different way to wake them up. But it's not even about that person too, because you're talking to a whole bunch of people, right? So
Yeah, you're talking
that's
to,
what's up.
one of the books that I read in the past. I read this 4 years ago. Don't Drop the Mic by TD Jakes.
Mm-hmm.
He said don't drop the mic, and he talks about ways to deliver messages, ways to be an effective communicator, right? And one of which is you gotta go back and review yourself over and over and over. Like, so every time I preach every weekend, I go back and rewatch myself preaching over and over, and I ask myself, what are some of the things that I need to improve on? What are some of the fill-in words I need to get rid of, and what are some of the things that I need to cut off in order for me to be more engaging and more effective? You know what I
that's
mean?
that's
Like,
what's up.
like yeah, that like the word and right. So you get rid of these things to get people to more engage in the message. One of which is adding a little humor in it and trying to be detailed as much as possible. So yeah, man. I mean, it's a life learning thing. It's not like I learned everything all at once. It's still learning. And let me tell you another thing. let me tell you another thing, because I still want to answer your question.
Mhm.
Only my leaders know this. Only my leaders, and none of the members. Now I'm going to share a secret with you. Only my leaders know this, because I've already communicated to them. So sometimes I preach the word and I mention their name while I'm preaching. So
Okay.
I go like this. I go like this. Let me tell you a little bit about this story, and then I mentioned that somebody's mentioned that person's name, and then I continue on. Nobody knows that. People think it's part of the story, but no, I'm
Mhm.
trying to wake them up. They're sleeping. You know what I mean?
So you're using your leaders as a counterpart to it's part of the strategy to keep people with attention. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so I'm not putting anybody on blast like you need to wake up. No, what I do is I add their name into the sermon, so that way when I see somebody falling asleep, I just add their name into the sermon and then keep moving forward. People were just like, "Hey man, all right, where's he going with this?" But nobody knows I'm trying to wake this person up at the same time.
Mm. So
So,
those
but
are the
if you go
strategies.
back and watch all my videos, I mention few names as I go, only because
Mhm.
it's part of trying to get people engaged. So
Yeah, because I
so
know you. I also remember you. I've heard a few of them where you're mentioning the nephew or your sons. Because I know my dad, as you know, he's a pastor too. And he always uses instead of the leaders, he uses his kids.
mm,
As the
mm.
examples and stuff when he's throwing stuff out there, and the church starts laughing and stuff because of course they know it's the pastor's kids and stuff. So that's
No,
cool.
no. So that's a story. So when I tell a story
Yeah.
about a relationship with my kids, but when I'm not making an illustration, when I'm trying to get a point across, let's say, I'll give you an example. I'll say, when Jesus was sharing this parable, Kenny, when he was sharing this parable, I need you to catch this, but nobody knows I was trying to tell Kenny, don't fall asleep. Keep going, but nobody knows because everyone's facing me. I'm facing the crowd. So,
That's what's up. Hey, oh, by the way, man, can you see that? There you go. Rocking the
there you go, man.
hey, live to
Ladies and
bless
gentlemen,
others.
can I make a shout out?
Go ahead, Oos.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our vision and our mission is live to bless others. Live to bless others. South Bay, San Diego, man. My
Yeah,
brothers represent, man. Appreciate it. God bless you. And for those that I need some merch, some church merch, let me know, man. I'll
there
get
you go.
you a hookup.
What you guys go ahead and plug in the website. It's you guys are on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. You have your own website. Why don't you go ahead and let the listeners know? And that also I'll put that on the description too.
The website is www.southbaychurch.com.
South like the SOUTH, Bay as in like the Bay Area, B as in boy, AY. South Bay is it
Church.
church.com.
Yeah.
There you go, man. And you know what? We're gonna go ahead and jump right to it. Why, Oos? Why, Oos? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Why Oos podcast. I'm your host, Puni Moa, and you are tuned in to the #1 podcast. Yes, you heard it right. That helps you pass time. And how do we do that? How do we do that, folks? We do that by bringing hosts like my brother, Pastor Ray Sasa, here to share the good word of God. And also, we're just going to shoot for the breeze, man. My pastor's here to hang out with Puni Moa, to entertain you, my listeners. You might be at work, you might be at home, or you might be at the gym, and you just need something to help you pass time. This is where we come in. So tune in, ladies and gentlemen. If you like the content that we're going to be dropping and talk about, leave a comment, share, subscribe. Yes, sir. And we're going to jump right to it. With that said, I got to also throw some legal stuff in there. This podcast content is for informational and entertainment purpose only. I'm coming soon to Why Oos, y'all. This is just us just giving our own personal experience, y'all. Don't hold us accountable. You know what I'm saying? We're just only talking about our own personal experience and what blessed us. Doesn't mean it's going to be what you're going to get blessed with, but it's a good story to tell, and it helps people get motivated. With that said, man, I'm going to jump right to it. Oops. Pastor, how you been, my man?
Good, man. I'm thankful, grateful every day, man. I'm grateful to be alive and also to continue to learn and be a better person, to be a better father, husband, brother, and also, a child, better neighbor. How about that? to be a better
better.
neighbor. Ah,
I've always liked what's his name? He always his answer is better than I deserve.
yeah,
Come on,
better.
come on, wait for it. The radio Christian guy, Dave Ramsey.
Dave
Every time
Ramsey.
people, everybody, yep. So I gotta find me a lingo how to respond to, my own. Better than I
So
deserve.
yeah, find a keyway word right out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so no, everything is all good, so busy with the ministry. Matter of fact, I just made a 1 year anniversary with my ministry here in San Diego. Praise God.
Oh
I got
man.
here, I got here March last year, and now it's February. I
Has it
mean,
it's been a year now?
yeah,
Oh
been a
God,
year now. Yeah, so praise the Lord. Yeah, man. I'm
man.
very excited and still excited about it, man. I still have, let me just tell you this. Although I just for the record, for our listeners, that prior to uh being the pastor, serve as a pastor of this multicultural church, um, I was a GC and general contractor, and just buying and flip homes and working with investors to buy to flip houses and to and to help out, to help out with the ministry. A lot of that, it was my desire to use whatever gifts God given me, because in the Bible, God gives us either one talent or two talents or three talents, and whatever that may be. You may have three talents and you're faithful with all three. That's praise the Lord. But I'm trying to utilize whatever gifts I have to not only expand the kingdom, but also to help somebody out too. All because I love helping out people and also and be able to work for yourself, if you know what I mean. Um, Either you work for somebody or you work for yourself. At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
you have to choose. So, and that's why I took that path, that's like 20 years ago or something like that, to working for myself, because you have a lot of freedom when you work for yourself. And I started off small too. I started off very small, trying to learn. But one thing that my dad always tells me, man, uh, you know, be honest with your work and don't cut corners. Just be faithful to what you do and with the little things, and people will talk about you. And then I did just that. And people start talking about my work, and then eventually, an investor, you know, came to the property I was working at, and then he's like, "I want to make a deal with you," and this is back in Seattle. You want to make a deal with me, and then we start working deals, and he start throwing houses to me, and he's like, "Hey, here's $80,000. Here's 100 grand. Work it, and we'll work out the deal at the back end." And that's where, although you make 20, 30,000s in at the end of the deal, but you still have to pay other people, but you want to reinvest in your company. Some people think, "Oh man, you're a rich man now." I was like, "No, I'm not quite there yet. I want to. That's why if I was rich, I wouldn't go back to work." But so as I continue doing it, my goal in mind, I had a goal in mind, is to stop working for them, but to work for myself. So I was able to save a lot of capital to where I start purchasing my own property. And then I learned a lot of things, as I go. I failed a lot of things, but those were part of my lesson, to learn about it and use that as to re-strategize and move forward. Okay, one of which, let me give you an example. I try to get conventional loans, and I keep at the time my credits were bad. I was like in the 500, but praise the Lord, I'm close to the 800 mark now, because I paid off everyone, because that's part of the gospel too, is you live in peace with everyone. So I'm close to, I think I'm like 760 or somewhere around there. But anyways, that aside, what I was trying to say is I got denied for conventional loans. So, but I learned something. Somebody introduced to me, "Hey, have you heard of the hard money and all of that?" People now, talk about hard money, but it's because it's on social media. But back then, we didn't have that many information, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that much information. So now I just learned about hard money, and people will start giving hard money. and I was capitalized on hard money, and you just got to pay them back, and it continues just like washing dishes over and over. But the best thing about that is when you go to Midwest, you go to Michigan, houses are very cheap over there, man. You can make a really good living off of there, to be honest with you, man.
I have a question. You drop a whole bunch of gems right there, man. First of all, congratulations for the 1 year anniversary of becoming being a senior pastor at the South Bay San Diego Seventh-day Adventist Church, bro. No, we don't take that lightly, man. We always want to give flowers to those, and those are little milestones that that build your what is it called? What is it called? Your legacy. You know what I'm saying? It's part of your legacy as you're building your journey and your story and stuff. So I can't take that lightly. Second of all, man, you said investors. It's hard for me to as a coconut, just starting off the YOOS business and stuff like that. I don't know anything about investors, man. Talk to us about that. Who introduced you to that? How did you even find investors, and why is it important to have an investor, Miles?
Oh man, that's a really great question.
Thank you,
Now,
brother.
think about the question you asked. That's the first question you have to ask yourself. It's not about I don't have the money, but rather it's about where do I get the money from? Do you see the difference? As business owners, you should never ask the question, you should never say I don't have the money. Rather, you train your mind to say, where can I get the money?
Nice.
To move the business forward. So like what you said, I was working with a couple of it's more of exposing yourself out there, just like what you're doing, networking with people. When you find people that are doing podcasts, like let's say podcasts, right? And if you find out that there's podcasts that's happening around your area, just go mingle with them and learn from them, and just and try to put your product out there. And always remember, this is what they do. You can learn something from them. So what I did is I heard about these Seattle, it's kind of like a Seattle party for contractors, right? So I went out and hang out with them, and they were like talking about projects and all of that. So I went to introduce, I was like the small guy out there. So I went to introduce myself, and they looked at me funny, and they said, what's your portfolio look like? So I showed them a couple of pictures of what I do. And sure enough, they were like, you did all of this? I was like, yeah, I did. Remember, the key is quality. So I showed them what I do, and they were like, you did all of this? I say, yeah. They say, man, we need to bring you on board just to test you out. So they gave me a bad deal. Let me tell you, they gave me a bad deal in the beginning. And they said, well, this is just a trial. And what that meant was, although the project was supposedly for 48 or 50 grand, I quoted for 48 or $50,000 for a full remodel at the time, but they said it was 30 grand and see if I can work with the 30 grand. And they say, if you can't pass this, then we're going to talk about. So I was like, you know what? Let me take my chances and see if I lose money, but I'm looking for something bigger.
Yeah.
So I did the project for them. I didn't make that money. Honestly, I didn't make the 6 weeks I didn't make anything. I mean, I made a little. Let's just say it wasn't worth the effort. But then after the product came out, after the house, and they put it on the market, people were fighting over the house. People were fighting over because of how we remodeled
the quality when you flipped the part of the house. So you didn't, even though you didn't make financial gain from it, you didn't realize that you actually gained quality and also exposure to where people wanted to find out who was the worker behind this model, because that's more important.
So yes, and also I didn't see the what's the word? The short term result.
Yeah,
right?
you didn't.
So
you didn't know. You didn't know what you didn't know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, you know what? I just hope and pray that after this they would see something in me. That's my mentality the entire time. So I was like, I just hope these guys are not messing with me. So after they put the house on the market, and then I think 14 days later, they got a first bite and they wanted more for the house. And
Nice.
then that's when the guy came back, and I forgot the name of the guy. I think his name was Agustino. And then he said, okay, you know what? You did something really big for us. Now let me introduce you to the guy. His name is Philip Rocker. That's how I know the name. Philip Rocker. And Philip Rocker, he's a hedge fund from the Century 21.
Mm.
So he took me and met with Philip Rocker, Century 21, and then up at Bellevue somewhere. And then we sat down. And then the first question he asked me, the investor, is like, did you do all of this? I was like, yeah, me and the guys did. But mostly, yeah, I did the work. He's like, man, we need to work together. That's when I was like, are you sure? He was like, let me throw you a first bone. So that's when everything went on from there. And then from that point on, other investors started seeing my work. They were like, okay, can you take on this project for us? So it's kind of like, let me write a check for 100 grand. Let me write a check for 30 grand. It's basically, they wanted to work with me, but I had my mind set on, I don't want to work for them forever. I want to work for myself, you know?
Good.
So I
Yes.
started off. So for being exposed, it's about getting out there, and it's all about exposures. So you got to get out there, man, and mingle and network with other people. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And then that's why you said the conventional loans. When you're saying conventional loans, you mean regular banks like Bank of America, Chase, and stuff, trying to get those kind of loans. They're not trying to give you the money that you want to where you can start a business, which we all know, listeners, they're very unfair when it comes to all that. So you brought that up. Why did you bring that up? Because you realized that the conventional loans was not working, and that's where you turn into investors, and then you start talking about hard money. Let's talk about that hard money.
So the convention loan, because I did not know better at the time, I did not know better.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, in order for you to get houses, you got to go apply for loans. You know, the traditional mindset.
Yeah.
Right? And these loans are like 30-year mortgage, or
Yeah,
right?
it is. Let's pop up. Yeah, you can't
So
even.
they tell you, okay,
Mhm.
oh, you need this, you need your W-2s and all these stuff in order for them to
To even
accept, or
give you, even
yeah,
somewhat give you a loan.
yeah.
There's so many
So
loopholes.
yeah, exactly. So I went in and I tried to apply to different banks because that's all I knew at the time. And they didn't give me anything. They said, well, first of all, your credits aren't looking that good. And second of all, your business, you need to establish some years in your business in order for us to be able to give you some
Mm-hmm.
funds and stuff like that. So basically, was a no. That's what you call a conventional loan. You know those mortgage payments that you have on the property on your house? That's a conventional loan.
Yes.
Mortgage loan and all that. So I didn't get it, man. Honestly, I didn't get it. So it led me to like, man, where do I get some money from? And then these guys start talking about, hard money loan. And hard money loan is different from conventional loan. You know, they don't check how much you make. No, they don't check how much you make. That's the difference between a conventional loan and a hard money loan. Is conventional, they put you on like depending on the market, 3 to 7% or 9%, whatever interest. The hard money loan is they put you on a real high interest because it's a short-term loan.
Mm-hmm.
Short-term meaning the faster you flip the house and sell, the faster you pay them back. That's why. So the
Okay.
motivation behind it is for you to fix the house real quick and pay them back with their interest. That's why they
Nice.
make the interest high. To acquire these loans, hard money loan, is you got to show them the property, and you got to show them the comps, like the ARV, after repair value, at the end. So for example, right? You see a house on the market, a beat up home. Let's say a beat up home for 30,000. How's that sound?
Okay,
So
30,000.
$30,000. Now you don't have the 30,000 on you.
Correct.
So you go to a hard money loan, and then
Now,
you
is that a
find
bank? Is that you
uh,
get it from a bank or that's from an investor or?
yeah, from an investors. Yeah, from
Okay, so
investors.
all
So
right, so that's
you gotta look for these group. They
okay.
have businesses out there that give hard money. So we're flippers.
How do
So
you like what do you have any group names that you should suggest or where can you find them? Is it social media, Facebook, or where can you
yeah,
find them?
you can Google them right now. If they're all over.
And
They're all
what are they
over.
called? Just put in hard money.
Yeah, they just put in hard money. Yeah, hard money.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
then you'll see a lot of them. Some of them are a little flaky than others.
Mm-hmm.
I use that word very loosely because some of them are in for themselves. So
Gotcha.
you have to look at the review, and that's the best thing about nowadays is you're looking at reviews, uh, the experience behind it. So let's say
So
you see
30,000. Yep.
a 30,000, and then
Mm-hmm.
you don't have that money. You don't have the money to flip the house too, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you need money. So you go to these people and you tell these people, hey, I'm looking at a property, I want to buy it, but I want to flip it and put it back on the market. Can you guys loan me, let's say, can you guys loan me $70,000, right?
Okay.
$70,000. So they look at you and they say, are you crazy? I say, okay, here. Then you present them with the idea. I say, I did all my homework. This house is for $30,000. I'm going to put in, $30,000 to $40,000 in it for the remodel. And then and here's the after repair value compared to, the comps, comparison values around the area, that these house, after you repair them, it would go for 150,000. Because they compare, the square footage of the home to other homes around it, and then see how much they can make off of it. So when they see that it makes sense based on the data you provide to them, then they'll say, okay, here's the thing. We'll give you 70 grand. Okay. And here's your interest rate. And then they give you an interest rate, I don't know, probably really high, but the motivation is for you to get it going. So that way, the faster you flip, the more money you save. The longer you prolong the project, the more you lose. So they give you $70,000 and then you flip the house. Let's say the 30,000 to buy the house, and then 20,000. Let's say, be more realistic, because a lot of times I do that. $20,000 I put in the property because I'm doing the work, and I put the other 20,000 in my pocket.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Because those are for contingent fees. Contingent fees meaning if there are surprises, right? If there are surprises, then you use that $20,000. But most of the time, you're gonna have surprises here and there. You end up spending $5,000-$10,000. So when you put all that money in and then you invest, let's say you invest 30 plus, let's say another 30,000. That's $60,000. And then you turn around and sell it for 150. Yeah, then you make your profit. They take their
You
money
reach your
back.
profit and you get some more.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's the thing, Pastor. So here's a trick question, because we're talking about our coconut family in California and Seattle, Reno area. Realistically, you can't find a house within that price range. But what you're saying is find a beat down home, like, and how were you able to manage that in a place like California? And can you even manage it like that? You get what I'm saying? With that kind of
Well, good
style,
luck to California.
or even
Yeah,
Seattle area.
yeah. Good luck with California or Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's but it can be done. It can be done.
Yes, it's
Like
good. The numbers is going to be higher because it's obviously the living cost,
yeah,
but it's still the
yeah.
same. It's still the same concept.
It's the same principle. Yeah, same
Same
concept.
principle. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, nice. I like
yeah.
that.
So it's the same thing. It's just it's a little higher end because of California and Seattle.
But let's
But
can you tell our listeners, because I mean you always have this conversation, and I'm personally trying to get my family, my siblings, get their butts out of Reno, Nevada area, and Seattle and San Francisco area, and come out here to the South, because in the
yeah,
South and the Midwest it's a lot cheaper. And our Polynesian people, coconuts, does not realize the real estate out here. You said it. the number of pastors talking about these 90, 60,000. I've witnessed you purchase those kind of houses in Michigan. Can you go ahead and share with our coconuts? Hopefully, this will give them a rude awakening. Like, we need to start moving to the South. And there is a lot of jobs out here, y'all, by the way. There are so many jobs. If you're not a real estate person, there are plentiful jobs out here in the Midwest and the South.
See, what you're asking is you're trying to move. So let's look at the tip of the iceberg here, right? I want us to see the holistic, the entire
just like the real estate Charlene said, make it make sense. And I'm trying to make it make sense to my family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So very true and very true. What you're saying is correct. What you're saying is we need to encourage our people to move to a place where it's manageable. Right. You're right. But what you're messing with is their set of values. See, what we need to understand is the tip of the iceberg is these are competing values that we have, like core values.
Okay.
Is they tie their values to where they were born and raised. Their worldview is in California. So removing them from California it can be a challenge.
Well, the actual core value is because it's closer to Hawaii, which Hawaii is closer to Samoa. That's why a lot of Samoans are in Hawaii and within the border states of the West.
Yeah, logically, yes, understand. And the farther you move from the West, the more the cost goes up, right?
But my argument to that is like, guys, family, how often do you go to Samoa?
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? And that trip, it's only, it may be only an extra 5 extra hours added to it, but you're still resting within the period when you're flying to Hawaii. And it's going to be the same distance after that. That's my argument.
That's a great argument. What you're saying is a great argument. Like, how often do you go to the islands?
Yeah.
I mean, the last time I went home was 2003. What is that? That's a long time ago. That's almost 11 years ago, man. That's the last time I've been to the island. I would love to go back to the island, but what your argument is, how often do we go? I don't know. That's something you have to ask yourself. But if you so think about the finance and how to save money, you should move. You should move to the East Coast. It will save you a whole lot of money, right?
Midwest and the South. Yep, Midwest and the South.
Midwest and Southwest and South. Yeah.
Not East, because East and the West is same price. They're very expensive.
Oh man.
Virginia and New York, that's no. Florida and the South, because Florida is the South. Midwest, Chicago area. Hey, Chicago's expensive, but the outskirts of Chicago, Wisconsin, those are hidden gems. Like hidden gems that a lot of these islanders doesn't realize the property that comes out of it. And you've been to our places and we've been to your homes. I've never witnessed that in the West Coast where you stay into a 4 or 5 bedroom house. $300,000, right? Versus compared to like $500,000 or even close to $1 million in the West Coast. It's just ridiculous how the prosperity that you get out here and the things you can do for your family, you know, out here in the Midwest and the South. Yeah.
Well, that's one argument. But another thing we have to look at it comes down to how driven are you? How driven are you? Because that's a real question we have to ask ourselves. No matter where you move in life, if you're not driven, right? If you don't have purpose in your life and goals of life to move you to where you want to be in life, then no matter where you go in life, you're still going to be the same person that you're just going to work 9 to 5 and you're not motivated. Yeah. So it comes down to you. But as far as saving, money and to relieve us from financial burdens, we got to move to those areas where we can save money. If you notice, a lot of if you look at the data, from the people, from the local Hawaiian people, let's say the locals, right? When you look at the locals moving from Hawaii to Arizona and what else? Las Vegas. They're all homeowners right now. I mean, not all of them, But most of them are homeowners because the data's out there to tell you that when they move, they can actually afford to live in the house, to own your own home. Another big thing that's happening, it's quite a challenge right now for us, is the fact that informations are out there. A lot of people, if you notice, there's a shortage of home across the board in America right now. You know why? It's because information, we're being exposed to so much information out there. TikTok information, Facebook information, Instagram, right? Interest, Pinterest, Twitter, Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they teach you and educate, and they were educating people now to buy homes. Back then, these information were hidden from us. So
That's true.
the
That is true.
reason why we have a shortage of home is because now people are being educated by all of these platforms, social media platforms. Now people own homes. And guess what? We are shortage. There's a shortage of home everywhere now. And those supply and demands, the demand for homes is higher and the supply is low. Now people are, homes are going skyrocket, and people are bidding over one house because people now know how to buy homes, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
So I was sharing about Hawaii. People from, if you look at the data, the Hawaiian people, our Samoan people moving from Hawaii to Arizona to Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's a movement going on.
Right, they're homeowners.
Yep.
Yeah, only because they learn, they educate themselves, and they go out and get homes. And it's important, man, to own something. And if I were anybody else, this is just me. Maybe this is part of some of the crazy ideas that I come up with. Because you got to think about the future for yourself, and not only for yourself, but your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generational wealth. If this is me or somebody else listening to this, that I would work 2 to 3 years and gain my, create my W-2s and build my credits to where I go and look at where is that? South and Southwest,
Kentucky,
right?
Michigan,
and all those places, because there are houses over there that go for 100 to 150,000.
Georgia. Yep.
So if I was them, I would apply for a conventional loan with good credits, established employment, right? And then start buying up houses on that side, like 2, 3 houses, and then put them back on the market to run its cycle and rent while you're still living in the West Coast. So that let's say you get $1,500, right? $1,500 per house. 15, another 15 is 3,000, another 15 is 4,500. There you go, your retirement right there. You're not working whatsoever. That 4,500 a month you just made off of those property, it's not only paying for the loan, but also it appreciates in value. So you can, check this out, you can pull the equity on those couple years later and still have renters pay for it while you enjoy the equity yourself. You get what I'm saying? If that was me, all right, I'm just throwing out hints right there. Okay.
What you're doing, you're dropping gems. You're dropping gems to the coconuts, to the listeners of the Wahoo's podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, man. Pastor, we're going to cut it short right now because I know you got a Bible study you got to attend to. And I also got these last-minute calls that I need to go ahead and handle. But I want to continue this on the next one. Listeners, if you enjoyed this content and you want some more information of what Pastor was talking about, how to purchase a home, flip it, even still live in your comfort and just start buying property out there in the South or even the Midwest, you might want to connect with Pastor Ray Sasa and Charlene, who's a real estate, who's trying to do stuff like this. You never know, because I'm also trying to promote the Brown excellency. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to push out there, man. Pastor, do you have any word of encouragement to close out, closing remarks?
Listen, one of the things, I love about giving our hearts to Christ is seek first the kingdom of God. Amen. That's the most important thing, The gospel of God not only makes us attractive, but also makes us educated and wise in our decision making, but also most importantly, it makes others be attracted to Christ through the way we live our life.
Amen.
So,
There you go,
That's it.
ladies and gentlemen. There you go, man. Again, comment, subscribe, and go get you a merchandise. You know what I'm saying? Live to bless
yeah,
others.
there you go. Yeah,
You
live
know?
to bless others.
Thank you
All
again
right.
for the opportunity.
Thank
So,
you, thank you.
you know, again, ladies and gentlemen, tune in to the next episode, you know. But yep, I'm Udi Moore, Pastor Ray Sasa, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Won't let up, baby, so damn bad. Got me doing these things for you. I ain't even checking for the haters like that. I'ma keep it moving, I don't ever look back. Mama taste sweet like I'm sipping on the Heather's A. Hey, shout it, swing my way. Anything you want, baby, hit me lane up. So into you, prove it with the vibe. I just wanna rub you down. Baby, let me love you down. Anything you want, baby, hit me lane up. So into you, I'm moving with the vibe. I just wanna rub you down. Baby, let me love you down. I need it so Villa. Take it so Villa. Hola, hey. She got me like hola, hey. You got me like, yeah.
Why? Ooh, why?